The stealth killer, high blood pressure, is a simple mineral deficiency. High blood pressure is not genetic in any way, shape, or form. Even in the black community, it's not genetic. Millions don't manage blood pressure. Well, that's because they're treating symptoms. They're not dealing with the cause. The cause is a mineral deficiency. Salt has nothing to do with high blood pressure. What's the first thing a good farmer or rancher puts out for his livestock in the pasture? A salt block or salt lick, right? There's nobody out in that pasture telling a cow she's limited to 1 lick a day, is there? I refuse to believe my human patients are dumber than a cow. Oh, also, if you're biblically orientated, it's kind of fun. God said, go forth and be a salt of the earth, right? I mean, it's in the Bible. And God is forever. Now, doctors say restrict salt and they live to be 56. I'm going with God. Big study. Uh-oh, Houston, we have a problem here. Low sodium intake could be riskier. That's because sodium is an essential nutrient. You cannot have nerve impulses without sodium. You can't move water around in your body without sodium. You can't make stomach acid without chloride. Chloride and sodium are probably the most common of all the mineral cofactors necessary for enzymes and genes to work. Uh-oh, Houston, we have a problem. Now, while this study was designed to deal with high blood pressure in the black community, because doctors convinced the black community that high blood pressure is genetic in them, this also is true for whites and blacks and yellows and reds and oranges and everybody, right? What they did was go from Loyola University in Chicago and Oxford University in London to Nigeria. They wanted to go up in the mountains of Nigeria and find some tribal guys that had normal blood pressure. They could take their blood samples and they make a vaccine come back, genetically engineered thing, injected in every black man, woman, and child, and get rid of their high blood pressure that way. Well, they get out to Nigeria from Oxford University and Loyola University, and they find out that only 7% of the people living in the tribal areas of Nigeria have high blood pressure. 93% are normal. That freaked them out. So they go back to London, they go back to Chicago, and they start doing DNA tests looking for gene pools of people whose ancestors had originated from West Africa during the slave trading days in the 1600s, 1700s. They found lots of them. They started just simply screening by doing blood pressure. They found out that the people with the same genetic pool as from West Africa, as the West Africans, 33% high blood pressure. So you know immediately it's not genetic because your position on earth doesn't dictate or change how a genetic disease will manifest itself. If you have a genetic disease here, you know, in Minneapolis, you're going to have it in London, you're going to have it in Cape Town, South Africa, you're going to have it in Auckland, New Zealand. It doesn't matter where you're on earth, the genetic disease can be the same. So when there's a 5 times difference here between where you live, you know it's not genetic. Well, they didn't like that. So they gathered up more blood samples from Nigeria, more blood samples from all over the world, from people who had originated from Nigeria, their ancestors, during the slave trading days. And they got in the geneticists, and they got in the cardiologists, and the blood pressure people, and all this stuff, and they studied for 6 years. And in 2005, January 2005, they came out with the final results of the study. Remember, doctors want you to believe that it's genetic. This is published in the British Medical Journal, which is their version of the Journal of the American Medical Association, very well respected around the world. And here's what they said. Hold on to your hats. High blood pressure in blacks, not genetic. High blood pressure in white's not genetic. High blood pressure in yellow's not genetic. High blood pressure in red's not genetic. It's not genetic in anybody. It's a simple mineral deficiency disease. Now, how many of you in this room, particularly the black individuals in this room, how many of you had your doctor send you an email in 2005 saying, praise God, we just learned that high blood pressure in black's not genetic. You just take the Healthy Start Pack and the Ultimate Daily Tablets, blood pressure goes away in a couple of weeks. Hallelujah! Anybody get that? I speak to black churches all the time. They've never heard of that. You know how many black men have died in the last 7 years because they didn't get the information? Over 100,000 from a high blood pressure stroke. Somebody needs to go to jail. But they won't because they're a protected monopoly. So how do we deal with this? We tell people ourselves. We share this information and get people to do things for themselves. They won't need doctors. And here comes the fun part. In August of 2003, in the Journal of the American Medical Association, of all things, JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association, in August of 2003, there was a big article in there about an herb that lowers blood pressure. It has flavonols in it. It's called dark chocolate. Not milk chocolate, not Hershey's bars, but dark chocolate. has a substance in it called flavonols, which lowers blood pressure. Now, it doesn't solve the problem of the mineral deficiency, but it will act like a plant medicine. Herbs are plant medicines. It'll lower your blood pressure so you don't have a stroke until you're taking enough minerals for you to eliminate it permanently, right? But I just keep taking it because I like it. My blood pressure, I'm 73 years old. My blood pressure is 121 over 71. My pulse is 43. It does spike when I get angry. It'll spike up to 45 when I get angry. When I was wrestling for the University of Missouri, my wrestling pulse was 38, and the doctors were always freaking out, but I could always outrun them, outwhip them, and all this, that, and the other, right? And in addition, dark chocolate has another substance. It's a fun substance called PEAs, phenylethylamines. How many of you have heard of phenylethylamines? Okay, this is the reason why we give chocolate on Valentine's Day, is the phenylethylamines. Now, the Spanish, they didn't know the name of the chemical, but they knew there was something special about dark chocolate. So in 1523, they took it to Europe and started giving it away on Valentine's Day. The whole purpose of dark chocolate was to seduce the woman with dark chocolate. PEAs, phenylethylamines, are the love chemical. They're an aphrodisiac, right? It's really great stuff, but it's got to be dark chocolate. So, in that year, 2003, we came out with a product called Cocogevity. And Cocogevity has flavonols in it, will lower your blood pressure, but it's also loaded with PEAs. It always works, guys. So, when Valentine's comes up, and it's coming up in a couple of months, don't give chocolates, give Cocogevity and reap the rewards. Reap the rewards, I guess. Okay. If you like pieces of chocolate rather than the liquids, I like the liquid. I add it to my coffee. We own a coffee company called Java Fit, and it made us publicly traded. One of the things we do, if you, I don't take anything from the company, even though I started the company. I don't take anything from it. I give it all back to you guys. You know, if you help other people, the more people you help, the bigger your check gets. This gets good. Okay. Anyway, triple treat chocolate. Triple treat chocolate. Triple treat chocolate. Why is it called triple treat? Because it lowers blood pressure. It has probiotics in it, which gives you good digestive stuff and gives you the best sex life you ever had. Triple treat, right? Because it has flavonols in it to lower blood pressure, but it also has PEAs in it, phenylethylamines. Good stuff. Now, two of these chocolates gives you 33,000 antioxidant points, 33,000 ORAC points, which is right in the halfway mark between 20,000 and 50,000 of these top 20 longevity people. Lower blood pressure, 33,000 ORAC points, and PEAs. I mean, how good does that get? And we also have another one called Triple Truffle. In addition, it has 500 milligrams of usable calcium per piece, which is the size of a pat of butter, and 1,000 international units of vitamin D3. So if you take 3 of those, you're getting 1,500 milligrams of usable calcium and 3,000 international units of vitamin D3, which is a minimum daily requirement for vitamin D3. Now, this is not a standalone product, obviously. You add that to the 90 essential nutrients and whatever else you got going. So that's sort of, and I could go on with, 894 other diseases, but we don't have time for that. High blood pressure is not genetic. High blood pressure is a simple mineral deficiency disease that can afflict anybody. Simple mineral deficiency disease. You supplement with the minerals, you don't get it. If you don't supplement with the minerals, you do get high blood pressure, and if you supplement with minerals, it goes away. It's just that simple. High blood pressure medication can lower blood pressure, but it doesn't solve the problem that caused the high blood pressure. You can symptomatically reduce high blood pressure, but you're still going to die from the complications of high blood pressure, even if though your blood pressure is, quote, under control, unquote. So once you appreciate that, you're going to add 25 to 50 healthful years to your life. They said, look, go ahead and just salt your food to taste. Don't worry about it. And people will say, well, every time I use salt, I swell up. My ankles get all fat, and swollen, and I get worried about that. Well, when you swell up, when you get edema in your ankles and your face and your hands, when you use salt, that means that you have a low blood protein. You eat 4 to 6 eggs every day, and within 2 weeks you can salt your food with impunity and you won't swell up anymore. You raise that blood protein up. People say to me, well, I can't eat eggs because my doctor said I got to worry about cholesterol. We're going to cover that in a minute. Now, I love this story. This fellow here, 88 years old, and this is published in the New England Journal of Medicine, one of the most prestigious medical journals. This old dude is 88 years old. He eats 25 eggs a day. Now, why would this old dude in 1991 be eating 25 eggs a day? Well, the reason is, I mean, you have to ask yourself, I mean, maybe he ate 25 eggs a day because he didn't have any teeth and couldn't eat steaks anymore. Or maybe he owned an egg ranch and, you know, was quality checking his product. But the reality is, when you read that scientific article, the more eggs he ate, he realized he became more studly. He became more studly the more eggs he ate. Because testosterone is 95% by weight cholesterol. So, when you go on a cholesterol-restricted diet and you go from cream and butter and eggs and lard to margarine and cooking oils, and you take drugs to lower your cholesterol, there's nobody home. So, ladies, if you want your man to be studly, 6 to 10 eggs a day. Now, they cannot be fried. They can be soft poached, they can be soft boiled, they can be soft scrambled in butter, not margarine or oils. And I can tell you from personal experience, I'm 71 years old and 10 eggs a day works. Hooah! See, now the ladies, gentlemen, the ladies understand what I'm talking about. Okay. That little box down there in the middle, this was actually the same study I just showed you on salt. That particular study was actually a government study called the Sodium Task Force. They said medical doctors want you to get your salt intake to 1 gram a day, which is kind of like a half a teaspoon of salt a day. And if you do that, it increases your risk of dying of a heart attack by 600%. By following the doctor's advice, it increases your risk of death from a heart attack by 600%. If you defy your doctor and take double and triple the dose of salt that they're recommending, you actually live 25 years longer and don't die of a heart attack. Isn't that amazing? Okay, that's a government study. You can control it just by supplementing with the Mighty 90. And that's it. You learn how to take your own blood pressure, and it slowly goes away over a period of a month or two. I've had people who are on blood pressure medication for 40, 45 years, and in 2 weeks' time, they don't have high blood pressure anymore. They go back to a normal life. Men get sexier. They don't have that, you know, low T and ED and all them initial things.